Well, good morning, March the 25th, 2023. So I'm going to do a couple of things today that are referencing about snowboards and snowboard performance. I would also like to say to you guys out there on the other side of the camera that it's great to know that here on YouTube, other people are starting to talk about board performance in a way that I completely understand. And Casey Wilcox on his has talked about board performance and the four characteristics, which are tilt, twist, pivot, and bend. Also, the Tribute Lounge. Those guys are excellent at talking about characteristics of the boards, the new boards in particular, how you make them function, and what happens when you make changes. So let me say this. For 29 years, I've been riding kind of a twin board, which means my tip and tail are even, with a stance of 15 positive and 15 negative. This year, with the volume shifted boards, I have got to make and made a lot of new discoveries. Just yesterday, I took my Amploid data board. I made 3 changes. I will explain to you those changes and why I made those changes after this clip. And I hope this all makes sense to you guys, because the roads to Rome are many, and which road you decide to go down and travel on depends on the knowledge that you have from channels that will talk to you about knowledge in a simple, understanding way, and then channels that just show you things and go, dude, do this, that's sick, you're killing it, blah, but don't actually let you understand what's actually mechanically going on with the board and what the body does above the board to make those things happen. So I hope you guys are enjoying staying with us, and will grow with us. And again, many roads to Rome. Find one that you enjoy. Okay, so we're looking at my Amploid data board, which is a 154 volume shifted board. Everybody knows, because it's volume shifted, that my nose is wider than my tail. Comes to the midsection, etc., down to the tail, which is tapered a little bit more than the nose. So my forward binding on all of my other boards, my twin boards, would have been positive 15, negative 15. But now I have a 21 degree forward pointing foot, and with that I additionally took my high back and squared my high back to the heel edge as best I could, which is here, and that's there. Coming back to my back foot, I have a negative 6. I did not square up my high back to the edge of the board. It is following the foot pattern. So between those two, I have a basically 21.5-inch stance. In addition to that, I took the high back that I squared up, and you look at the high back notches down here, it's on a 1 on my forward foot. It has dropped only 1. So when it pulls back, that's what I get out of that with the 1. Boom. If you come to my rear binding back here, it is dropped down 3 spaces or deeper than my front foot. And that means when I pull back on it, the board lifts a little bit higher, although the ankle is somewhat closed. So how did I get to these setups? By riding down the hill, looking at the pattern that my board was making in the snow, what I saw was a pretty solid toe turn with a narrow lead in from the toe side through the middle to the bottom. On the heel side, prior to making these adjustments, what I saw was a skidded entry into the top of the heel turn with a carved exit out of it. And that was with the 15 and negative 12 that I had. So drastic changes, because the board performance is extremely different. So those of you looking at volume shifted boards and stuff need to understand, do not go out and put the old stance on it that you rode your twins with, because the board is not the same affected by those positions and movements the same way. So consider that and experiment with it. Each day I may make one change in my binding setups in order to find out another missing ingredient. So I hope this is helpful to you guys, and stay with us. Another way for you to kind of check what's happening, one, I said you could read the snow if you're capable of doing that, because your tracks in the snow, which are white, do not lie. Turning the board over, you'll notice that on my toe side, which is on the left as I look at the screen, you'll see the edge along here, and you will see the wear line that runs through the middle of the board down to the tail, almost the entire length. If I come over here to the heel side, you'll see that line open up a little bit, get a little bit more wear towards the middle of the board, and then taper down, but not quite as far, which means that my heel side isn't quite as effective or chipped up as much. And that goes back to what I told you about the tracks in the snow. It is starting to wear in better now that I've made those binding changes above the board. And also, this is causing me to also change the timing from entry into the heel from the toe, which on this board I need it to happen much quicker and a more bigger move. So that's another way of reading your board and seeing where the wax is wore off and how you can tell what's happening underneath your feet. So out on that.